Good morning. Hopefully you had a good first Learning Module 1. Today you're starting Learning Module 2, and the focus of Learning Module 2 is going to be using the digital George Mason University libraries. So today I'm going to walk you through some basic searching of the University Library online. Some of you might be beyond that in terms of skills. Others of you might want to watch this a couple of times. So basically, I'm going to show you how to access some databases, some different functions in those databases that are important to you that we want to talk about, and then how to search by journal, such as doing a hand search of journals. So in this week's, well actually it's this half week, since it's during summer, this half week's module, Learning Module 2 does not have a PowerPoint. It just has this video where I'm going to walk you through searches. So if you're looking for a PowerPoint, it's not there for this, just this video. So let's go ahead and get started. I typically go to Academics, and then I click on University Libraries. And from there, I scroll down until I get to where to go for information, and then I click on Digital Library Resources. It will bring you to the screen that says Articles and Databases, and here I'm going to type ERIC. Not all professors let you use ERIC. I do, as long as you pull intervention studies from that database. You can't use what I call one of these fluff articles, an ERIC digest article, but you can, it's a good resource for actual intervention articles. So it's having a hard time finding it. So if it does, you just go to the letter and then you scroll. It takes a little bit more time. You scroll until you find it. Oop, and I went a little bit too far. So there we go. We have ERIC. And I'm picking ERIC because its interface is very similar to a lot of different databases we have at Mason. A lot of them are hosted by EBSCOhost, and so you'll see that identifier. That's not the database, that's the host of where the database is located. The database is here. It'll say searching whichever database you're searching, whether it be ERIC, WorldCat, whatever you're using. And then you'll see the George Mason logo. It didn't ask me this because I'm already logged into the George Mason system, but to get to the databases, after I clicked on that ERIC button, it might ask for your George Mason ID login, which is not your G number, it's the first part of your email, and then it might ask for your password, which is the same as your email password. And then when you enter that, that allows you free access to the databases rather than paying for them. For this class or any class, you shouldn't have to pay for access to the databases. If it asks you for money, then log out and log back in to the libraries. And if you're still having problems, chat with the digital librarian, because they have librarians on staff every night until 10 o'clock. Or let me know and I'll help you get into the databases and the library for free. But my point is you should not be paying to search the library databases. Now, most of the databases work like ERIC. You type in your search terms, but before you do that, I highly recommend you check off peer reviewed, because you're going to be pulling intervention studies, and the best intervention studies are peer reviewed because they have a level of, I would say, expertise higher than other articles because they've been reviewed by experts in the field, which are the peers. In terms of year, I wouldn't worry about the month, but I would enter in 2000 to the current year, 2017, for most searches, except if you have a reading-based topic. If you have a reading-based topic, your search needs to be 2005 to 2017. And the reason why is there's a lot published every year out there on reading, and you want to be as current as possible. So for reading only, you got to go 5 years more recent. Now, with full text, a lot of people will check this, a lot of students, but I'm going to recommend that you don't. And the reason why is some of you will have very complex topics for this particular literature review. And if you click full text, it will highly narrow the articles you find because it will only pull up ones that have full text right there. If you don't click full text, if it finds articles that have full text, they will still appear, But for some reason, if there's a great article there, it'll give you the abstract. And if there's no full text, you can go and pull it, and you can go into the library and go to the actual journal and pull it. Mason has a lot of journals. So, and it's fairly easy. I'm going to show you how to pull directly from a journal. So I would recommend you don't click full text, because then you might find some gems, some really good articles in journals that are not full text, and you can just easily go into the journal and pull the article. Okay, so let me just do a search here to give you an idea. If I wanted to search mathematics, because I'm interested in mathematics, it's one of my research areas, you'll notice I get over 30,000 articles. Too many for our purposes here. So let's say I want to narrow, because my population, and this will be something you want to think about, is what is your population? Is it students with autism? Is it students with intellectual disabilities? Is it students with learning disabilities? Who's your population? So when I click here, that narrows the search quite a bit. I usually recommend that you have a couple hundred articles. 700 is kind of on the high side for the limited literature review we're going to do. You at least want to have 100 to 200, because you will sift through, believe it or not, probably at least 100 articles to find ones directly on your topic. So let's say I want to look at the secondary level to kind of narrow things. There, it gives me a perfect number for what I'm looking for. Now, if you see articles here, this one doesn't have a full text icon like here, PDF full text, but it still has a couple different ways to get it. MasonLink will often have it. This one says full text from Eric. So a lot of times you will see articles with full text even when you don't click it. That's my point. Or you can click on MasonLink and see if you're able to access it through the library in another way. But here it gives you, your reference, or at least a form of the reference. And if you click on it, it will take you to the abstract. So if I click on that, it'll give me more bibliographic information, and it will also take me to the abstract. And so you can read that and say, hey, this is something I'm really interested in, or I'm not interested so much. Now, if you like this article and you want to use it, it will give you a way to generate some sort of form of citation. While a lot of you might like to use it, I caution you in using that, and say double check, because I will check your citations here, and we're going with the most recent 6th edition APA. So always double check your references against the APA manual, because a lot of the library references are not correct. And remember when I talked about a librarian online you could chat with? This is a little way you can connect with them. They're not there right now, but they should be shortly, and they're usually there till 10 o'clock at night. But you can click on that if you're having trouble and chat virtually with a librarian. They won't do searches for you, but they will help you. So now I'm going to back up here, and I'm going to go into a database that's helpful. It's a little bit different, so that's why I bring it up. But it's in our library scavenger hunt. That's another reason why I bring it up. I'm going to go to PsycInfo. PsycInfo doesn't just have psychology articles in it. It does have some education ones. That's why we use it. And I just want to show you, because it has a few different functionalities than the interface that Eric has. One thing I really like is it has a nice term finder. So let's say I wanted to search the term dyslexia. Hopefully I can spell here. And if you type in dyslexia, let's say you want to decide, should I use a different term? Is this the term that's used in this database for this specific issue? If I want to find out, I click the plus sign next to the word, and it will show you broader terminology in this database that hits on the same thing. Alexia, learning disabilities, reading disabilities. And you use those if your search was too narrow, if you only came up with like 10 articles. Again, you might have it, sometimes when you do this, there are broader and narrower terms if dyslexia were kind of a middle of the road term. Sometimes if it's really broad, it'll say just more narrow topics. In this case, dyslexia is pretty narrow, so it's not going any more narrow. The third thing it can give you is related terms. So educational diagnosis and reading are not the same thing, but they're also things you might want to search. So ideas for language for searching. So anyway, I think the Term Finder is a really good help in this database, and other databases do have it. I just kind of really like the way it pops up here. So in this database, again, I would suggest that you put in your years so you don't get super frustrated when you're searching. And then I would recommend that you click peer-reviewed journals only. And then it's always kind of good to find out who cited it. And this is the reason why. I'll ask you to do 3 types of searches for your methods section for your paper. One is called an ancestry search. So I'll ask you if you looked in the reference lists of the articles you found that you thought would be great, if you looked in those articles' reference lists to find more articles. Those articles in that reference list are called the ancestors, or articles, articles printed and used beforehand. They're the ancestors to your article, which is how you find them via an ancestry search. A descendant search are articles that cite your great article that you're using. So you're like, oh, this is a great article. Who cited it? Are those great articles too? So if you click on times cited, and let's say I am going to search the term dyslexia. It'll have the title, and if you click on it, just like ERIC, it'll take you to the abstract and some bibliographic information. So hold on a second, it's taking a minute. So again, you'll find that abstract and you'll find more bibliographic information. And I just want to highlight this. A lot of articles have a digital identifier. If your article does have one, you want to put it in your reference. If it doesn't have one, you can't make one, so you just don't include that. You include other information for how you located your article. Now, this was on the previous page as well, but you can click here for the articles that cited this article. So if you said, oh, this article was cited by over 1,000 people, let's see who they were. Maybe there's some useful articles here. And then it will show you who cited your article and see if it might be relevant to find one of these articles. Might also be good to include in your research. Okay, so again, this is what we call a descendant search when you search articles that cite your particular article. One last thing I want to show you, because this is, again, I'm going to just get back to the home page because it's a little easier. I'm going to go again to academics, to the libraries. Another way you might want to search, because I'll ask you to do a hand search of at least 1 to 2 journals for at least 5 to 10 years. So the other thing I will ask you to do is to do that virtually. I don't actually want you to go to the library and do a hand search by hand of the articles in the journal that you pick. I want you to find the journal here. So let's say I put Journal of Learning Disabilities. And again, I remember I went to the eJournal Finder there instead of going to the databases. So I went to a slightly different place, and these are all the places that this particular journal is located. So I want to go to the place that has my date range that I'm looking for. So this is 1999 to present, which is perfect for me. And this interface is going to look a little bit different than a journal interface because you're not, a database interface because it's not a database. You're going to one of the SAGE journals, Journal of Learning Disabilities. And this actually took you to the home page. And we're going to go to all issues. So you might have to search around the page to find where to go. But then here, I'm going to say, I'm going to click on the years that I want to search. If you want to go back to 2010, what you would do to do a hand search is then you would just go through each issue and click on the titles and, look through the articles for, like, let's say from 2010 to 2017 to find the ones you want. This is also the way you locate articles if they don't have full text. You go to the journal, like I did, Journal of Learning Disabilities, and then you go back through the issues, and based on the location you have, you find your article and you get the full text.